So you know that I record the classes for a couple reasons. One is if by chance you have to miss class for whatever reason. I mean, it could be a doctor's appointment. It could be because you're on vacation. It could be because you just didn't feel like doing it that day. That's fine, but it's recorded and uploaded to YouTube so you can watch it at your own leisure. It's also recorded so that after you get done with class and you think, oh, I wish I could remember what she said. Well, you can remember what I said because you can rewatch it, or you can fast forward it. It should be on your Claris's through a button. I double checked with Alexi last week to make sure that it was a button on Heart of Georgia Claris tablets as well as SOWEGA's. So if you have any kind of problems, either let Alexi know or me know, and we'll get to the bottom of it as to what's going on with your tablets. You should also have a button under messages, like on April's. I'm the only person April can send a message to, but on the SOWEGA Claris tablets, you should have me as an option to send messages to. And I know you can't look right now because you're on them, but if you have any problems with that, let me know. I'm not going to be funny and say, send me a message, because if you don't have that as an option, then that's not a possibility. But you do have my phone number and my email. All right. So I'm going to turn this up and we'll get started on our Tai Chi. Forgot my belt today. I thought surely my pants will be fine, but I'm tugging them on. All right, so every time we start Tai Chi, we want to open and close our hands, walking our legs in place. Now, if you stay seated, there's no problem with that. You can easily do this class from a chair or standing, or you can start standing and then sit if you get tired. But I always just ask that you listen to your body. So take care of yourself. It's not a competition with each of us. We're not trying to outdo each other. We're just trying to get better for ourselves. So I like hearing how Annie said, I have problems with balance and I need help. So I'm going to give you some basic tips on how to strengthen those stabilizer muscles so that you can get stronger and then you're less likely to fall. That's the name of the game. We don't want you falling because we don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to break anything. We don't want you to end up in the hospital, in nursing home, and rehab. We don't want you to end up with doctor bills. We want you to be well and get to enjoy life. So just pay attention and we'll give you some of those tips. But right now we're just warming up those bodies, whether you're seated or standing, pumping those arms, marching those legs in place. You can walk around the room depending on what space you have. I try to stay in the camera. So I do walking forwards and walking backwards, but I don't necessarily recommend walking backwards because you don't always know what's behind you. I know because I'm in a camera, so I can see behind me. Keeping in mind with Tai Chi, as long as you're following principles in the movement that you do, you're going to get the benefits from Tai Chi. The movement or the principle of movement control talks about slow, smooth, and continuous. So that's the pace of the movement. So, and then body structure talks about our upright posture. So right now I have my feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider, maybe about at my hips. I have good posture. Like my spine, there's a string that pulls up towards the ceiling and down towards the ground. And my shoulders are relaxed. So it's a nice, relaxed, yet stable stance. My weight is on both legs. So that's our body structure. Now, as we do our movements and we transfer weight, we want to keep that upright posture. We don't want to lean into any kind of weight, because once you lean, that's going towards falling. If you're doing this from a seated position, it's a little more difficult difficult to transfer weight because the weight is on your hiney that's in the chair. So what you do to transfer weight seated is push that foot into the floor, release that foot, and push the other foot into the floor. And that engages those muscles and gets you hopefully to a point where you maybe feel comfortable standing up, holding on to a chair, and doing some weight shifting standing. All about progress. Start where you are and build from there. Another principle has to do with the internal experience, and that is when we extend our arms, we don't lock our joints. We keep a soft bend in those joints, and that helps that nice energy flow. Same thing with our knees. We have a slight bend in those knees. We're not locked and standing up with locked legs, but we're not squatted down either. Our knees are just soft. There is a goal to experience Tai Chi in a quiet manner, and that helps us experience what's called Jing, Jing, and that's the mental quietness that Tai Chi gives us. But we can't do it if your instructor is just blabbering along. So I try to do some pieces and parts that are just quiet. So as long as you're following those principles as we go through these movements, then you're going to get the benefits. The benefits of reduced stress, reduced anxiety, reduced depression, strengthened muscles, improved balance and coordination, relief of chronic pain, specifically the pain that's from arthritis. You'll get increased flexibility, improving your mobility, reducing tension and stiffness. I always think about my neck whenever I think of stiffness and tension. That leads to headaches. So I really pay attention to keeping those muscles nice and stretched. And then just the nature of exercise. The more you do it, the more stamina you have. So let's start with our warm-up, starting to our neck, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, and ankles. So let's go through those, and then we're going to experience it with Jing, or that quietness. So right stable stance, posture. Our hands are to our side. Now let's bring our hands up, palms down towards our chin and chest. Push away from our bodies, and then follow with our head, our hands all the way down, chin towards our chest. Come back up with our hands towards our chin and chest. Push away from our bodies, and then follow those hands all the way down. Inhale as you come up, and then exhale whenever you get ready. Stretching the back of our necks. The other one starts out that same way. Bring your hands here. Drop one hand down to your hip and follow this hand as you look toward your shoulder. Come back to the front. Switch hands and follow this hand as you look towards that shoulder. You don't have to go as far as you can go. Just go until you feel that nice stretch. On side to side, loosening up any tension you may have in that neck. Making sure you continue to breathe as you go through these movements. Sometimes whenever you do something new, you tend to hold your breath. So just be conscious of that and breathe. Hold on a second. Oh, I got Miss Linda coming in. Let me admit her and mark her present. All right. All right, so those two are for our neck. The next one's for our shoulders. We bring our hands to our side and we roll those shoulders forward, just small little circles. Let me get Miss Linda to start her camera. Nice little circles forward. And then let's roll those shoulders back. Now, doesn't that feel nice? That feels like a little massage that you give yourself.
Feels great.
Don't get any hurry. Just enjoy that nice little shoulder roll massage. Now, when you roll your shoulders forward, that feels a little bit awkward. The reason why it feels awkward is because our shoulders are supposed to be back, not forward. So that's why we roll forward first and back second. The other one for our shoulder, we bring our palms up out to our sides, and then we push down in front of us. Inhaling as we come up and exhaling as we push down. Inhale up and exhale. That's a great one to really practice your breathing. Even from a seated position, you can just enjoy breathing and thinking about, always think about positive and negatives. In the world, there's always both, right? Yin and yang. And so when we come up, it's like we're gathering the positive or gathering good. And when we come down, we're pushing that negative out and away. Up and down. There we go. Now let's go for our spine. Having our little ball right here. The hand that's on top is going to push down towards the ground, and the hand that's on bottom is going to come up and push towards the ceiling. So I'm pushing up and down at the same time, keeping that soft bend in my elbow, stretching that spine, coming back to my ball and switching. There we go. This one and the neck one, the one where we look over our shoulders, those are the ones that I feel most benefit me because I have the most tension in my neck and in between my shoulder blades of my spine. And these just really stretch those muscles and get some of that tension worked out. So if you ever catch me doing a good many of these, that's why, because it just feels so good to stretch. And last one, come back to our ball. And now we're going to take our ball for a ride. So the hand that's on top tells us the direction we're going. So I'm going to take that ball just above that knee, switch my hands, and come back across. So I'm not going as far as I can go. I'm just going enough to stretch that spine. If I were to go way over here, I could actually hurt myself, stretching my spine a little too much, and then I can start pulling on that knee, and that can really hurt your knee. So don't try to do too much, even though that is our tendency to go, oh, Lord, it's much better if I do more, of course. So no, it's not. That's not in Tai Chi world. There we go. All right, now we're going to get serious about balance because we're going to be shifting weight from leg to leg. So if you have any problems with balance, this is a great time to have a chair for you to hold on to. Even if you don't touch it, it's there just in case. I like this table right here. It's very stable. It's not going anywhere. This would be a bad example of a chair to rely on for stability because it's on wheels. So if I were to lean towards that chair to keep me from falling, it will take me to the ground because of those wheels. So be mindful of what you use to help you be stable. There's a cooler over here, but it sits down real low. I'm not going to use that cooler because I'm leaning forward to use it. So that's what I mean is use something that your arms are like naturally about this height, somewhere in this area where you don't have to lean, that can't move easily. There's one place that I go to in Vidalia and teach Tai Chi, and their floor is so slippery that they have chairs that don't have wheels, but as soon as you try to lean on those chairs, they start moving because that floor is slippery. So those are things to be mindful of. As we transition to the bottom part of our bodies where we shift our weight. So we're going to shift our weight to one leg. And if you want to hold on to a chair and skip the arm movements, that's fine. You want to be safe, however you're doing this. Shift the weight to one leg. You're going to take the other, put the heel out, and then your hand go back. So from the side, it looks like this. Shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and then you're going to put your toe back, hands forward, and that toe goes kind of back like a kickstand out to the side. So it's not straight back. That doesn't feel very stable. Come out here, and that widens that stance, and then that feels much better. So we're going to take heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward, keeping our bodies upright. So we're not leaning forward or back. See me rely on that wall to help keep me from falling down. That knee that all my weight's on, this leg right here, that's my bad knee, and my knee wasn't real happy with what I was just doing. So you're going to have good days and bad days with your joints, and so just take care of them. Let's shift our weight to this other leg. Heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Kind of like a leg swing. Remind yourself to keep breathing. Catch yourself holding your breath and get that good deep breath. Do one more. Heel forward, hands back, pause, and toe back, hands forward. Feet back to shoulder hip width apart. Now we're going to stack our hands like this, and we're going to shift our weight to one foot, and we're going to take our hands in the direction of the weight shift, and we're going to stop at our the frame of our bodies. We're not going to lean over here. Why? Because if we're leaning, we're falling, and we're keeping our bodies upright, shifting the weight to this leg. Once that weight is shifted, I'm going to take this foot, pick it up, tap it out to the side. Bring it back to hip width, change my hands, shift, tap, bring it back, switch hands, shift, tap, bring it back, shift, tap, bring it back, shift, tap, bring it back. Let's do one more. Shift, tap, bring it back. So those moves we just did, we had our weight on one leg. Your ability to hold your weight on one leg is a huge determinant of your risk for falls. So you want to be able to hold weight on one leg without any problems. That doesn't mean you're going to lift that leg up and kick that leg out, but simply shifting the weight, even when the other one's still on the ground, that's going to help you build those stabilizer muscles and lessen your chance of fall. So that's shifting weight side to side. All these movements in our warm-ups prepare us for our Tai Chi, because you'll see them repeated again. Weight shifting is a big feature of this Tai Chi because we're trying to go for balance here. Okay, so our next one's for our knees. We make loose fists down here by our hips. We're going to shift our weight to one leg, lift this foot, tap the toe out, and punch the opposite hand. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. Remember, you can skip the arm movements and just hold on to a chair and do the leg movements, wherever you feel most comfortable. Shift, lift, tap and punch, shift, lift, tap and punch. Now let's step out. So I'm going to shift the weight, and now I'm going to step forward. I'm going to lean a little weight into that front leg as I punch the opposite hand. Bring the weight to that back foot. Feet side by side. Shift, step, heel toe, shift and punch. Yep, that's my icky knee. So I got to really be careful there. I'm not going to give it too much weight as I shift forward. Shift, still keeping my body upright. Side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch. Bring it back. Side by side. So you see all this weight shifting, good stuff, but it's very challenging for our bodies. So take your time with it, be slow and smooth through your weight transfer. And of course, breathe. All right, now for our ankles. Again, shift our weight, and then let's do heel, toe, heel, toe. So we're rocking that foot. Bring that foot back, shift the weight, heel, toe, heel, toe. Bring that foot back, shift the weight, big toe, little toe. Bring it back, and other foot, little toe, big toe, side to side. Very good. All right, give your body a nice shake. So, are there any questions about any of those warm-ups?
No, I'm just.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to go through all the warm-ups. I'm only going to do one, maybe two for each one, but I'm going to do it quietly so that you can experience that zhing, that mental quietness as you go through the movements. I mean, you know, fireworks aren't going to go off. It's not going to be anything magical. Especially as you first learn it and you're just overthinking about what you're going to do next, you know, what comes next, am I doing it right? You know, there's a lot of thinking going on in your head when you're first learning, but this is how we learn and get better. All right, so here we go from the top. There you go. So see, wasn't that a nice experience going through the movements in silence? And what I like particularly about that is the transition. So, you know, for instance, when we went from here, 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 completed that movement, then went into that next one. So everything was slow, smooth, and continuous, even from body part to body part to body part, to where it was one continuous thing, just like our Tai Chi movements. And you can get to experience it differently. But still, we need to talk about it and talk about the importance of certain movements. For instance, when you stack those hands, you know, we don't want you leaning way over here because that's falling. We don't want you to, whenever you step out and put that weight towards that front leg, we don't want you to put that knee over that front toe. We don't want this back foot to come off the floor, because once that back foot comes off the floor, it starts projecting us forward. So we have to talk about those little parts of each movement so that you are safe. You are safe as you do these movements. Okay, so we're getting ready to start our Tai Chi series of movements, beginning with commencement and then open and close, single whip, waving hands and clouds. Now, I teach it two different ways: mirror image and turned around. What is your preference, or do you know?
I don't know.
Mr. James?
I like both of them.
Either one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Miss Linda, you may not know. Miss Annie, you may not know. Okay. My preference when I'm a student is for my instructor to turn around. As an instructor, I can do either one. So I'll show you both, mainly because I need to. Because when I turn around, you can't see everything my hands are doing. So it's important that I turn around and show you. The first movement is commencement. Now, commencement is a step forward that's led by your left leg. So you will, with your feet, shift your weight to the right foot. You will step left, shift left, and bring that right foot forward. So that's what it looks like from the front. You're just taking a step that's led by your left leg. So from behind, it's shift right, step left, shift left, right foot forward. So when you step that left foot forward, it's called an empty step. So when you put that left foot out there, you're not immediately giving it weight. Then you give it weight, and then you bring your other foot forward. So when you step out with that left foot, you step heel toe. And it's not a very big step. From the side, it's not a very big step. We're not going real far with this. Shift. Shift right, step left, shift left, bring that right foot forward. Easy enough, right? That's something that we're used to doing daily. Our hands, they start out to our sides, and the whole time our hands are going to be facing each other. So when they come up, the hands face each other, and you see how we're out, but there's still that soft bend right there in our arm. We're not out here like Frankenstein, soft bend. So we go from our sides to up and then down, come back to our bodies, up our body, out, come back in, and our fingers go pointed up, and that gets us ready for our second move called open and close, which is lovely because we know we can always be the master of this one right here, open and close. Easy peasy. So again, the hand movements of commencement, our hands start on the sides. We bring our hands up facing each other and down towards our bodies. We bring those hands up, out, and back in, open and close. So that's fairly easy. If you want to think about what Dr. Lamb says, where he talks about having a ball that you want to show off and you want to share and you want the people to play with it. So you take your ball and you're like, oh, look what a pretty ball. Don't you want to play with this ball? No, they don't. So you bring it back to yourself and you're like, surely they just missed at how great it is. Let's give them one more chance. Oh, look at the pretty ball. Don't you want it? They still don't want it. So you bring it back. So again, oh, look, pretty ball. Don't you want to play with it? No, they don't. Oh, one more chance. You sure? You sure? Yep, they're sure. Bring it back. So that's a way that some people remember the sequence of that hand movement. Remember our principle of slow, smooth, and continuous. So there's nothing sharp that happens with our Tai Chi. Nice and smooth. As soon as we come up, we come down. As soon as we go down, we come back and up and out. It's just one big continuous movement. That's a principle of our Tai Chi. I like to think about cheerleaders. If we were cheerleaders and we were not Tai Chi people, it would look like dun, 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 dun. You know, that's more like what a cheerleader would look like, and that completely goes against what we're doing. Nice, smooth, easy, continuous movement in our commencement, open and close. Feet and hands together. Remember, the feet is one step forward led by our left foot, and then we know what we just did with our hands. All right, so when we begin, nothing's happening with our hands. We bring our hands up. When we go to bring our hands down, that's when we shift to that right foot. Down, shift right. Now we're step left. Bring those hands in and up. Now, as our hands go out, we're going to shift left. When we get out, we bring that right foot forward, and then our hands come back, open and close. That's what it looks like for our hands and our feet to me. So from mirror image, hands come up, down, shift right. Step left, bring those hands in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Bring the right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. So when I turn around, I'm in mirror image. When I turn my back to you, I'm using the correct foot. So when I'm facing you and I say shift right, this is actually my left leg. But if I'm in your mirror image, that's your right, correct? That confuses my brain so bad I can't take for a teacher to do mirror image for me. My brain just turns you around. And I want to know why you're moving the wrong foot and saying left when you're moving right. That's me though. So I'll show y'all both and y'all can tell me what you think. I can do it both ways. All right, so commence. Up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Do it a couple more times and then I'll do it without talking. And commence. Up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. All right, let's do it again. And commence. Up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Any questions about those moves? All right, let's do it without talking. And commence. And again, without talking, commence. Those are our first two moves. Our next move is called single whip. Now, we will single whip to the right, and then we will wave hands in clouds to the right. Then we'll single whip and wave hands to the clouds to the left. So it is balanced. We do most things in Tai Chi, we do to the right and to the left so that it is balanced. Okay, so what it looks like, and this is the single whip, footwork. We're going to shift left. We're going to step out right. Now notice whenever I stepped out, I stepped at an angle. Here. So I didn't step straight out. I stepped at an angle, and it's about a 45-degree angle. When I stepped at that angle, my body naturally turned at that same angle. If you do this seated, you're not going to step out, because if you step out, you're going to come out of your chair. So if you do this in a chair, you can shift, lift, and put it back down. So you're not stepping out, or you're just going to push that foot into the floor, lift, and place it back down. Your body's not going to turn, but it is shift, step, and that makes that body follow that angle. When you step that leg out, you adjust your weight to where there's weight on the front and the back foot. I say about 50-50 weight. You may have a little extra weight on your back leg to where it's more like 60-40, but it's about even. Okay, so you're not keeping that weight on that back foot and just placing your foot out there. You're actually putting that foot out there and giving weight to it. Okay, so it is shift left, step right, and adjust the weight. Then we will shift the weight to that left foot and bring that right foot back. And then we'll step out to get ready for waving hands and clouds. But that's the footwork of single whip. It's shift left, step right, adjust weight. And then to end that movement and transition to waving hands and clouds, we shift left, bring that right foot back, and then we're getting ready to step out. If balance is an issue, you may want to already go ahead and step that foot out so that you're not holding your foot here. That's an unstable stance. All right, so we have shifted left, stepped right. Our hands are here because we just got finished with open and close. So our hands are right here in front of our chest, facing each other. When we turn, whenever we stepped out with our foot, our body turned in that same angle. And what we're going to do now is push our hands out away from us. See the soft bend. Then we're going to turn our hands away from us. Then we're going to separate those hands, and our eyes are going to follow the left hand. But we're going to continue to open both. Now, if you open both, then you can feel your chest really opening. You can probably feel some of the muscles in your back as you extend those arms out. Because you're following with your eyes that hand, you're going to feel that same stretch that you felt when we did this in our warm-ups. Remember how I said all of those warm-ups will be repeated again in our Tai Chi movements? That right there, even though it's not this, it's this. Same deal, right? Okay, so let's do it. We have single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight, push our hands out, turn, separate, following that left hand. If you ever think, I don't know which hand I'm supposed to be looking at, it's the opposite one of the foot that's stepped out every time. So when we do single whip the other way, we're going to follow the opposite hand because our opposite foot is going to be stepped out. If you ever learned part 2 of Tai Chi, there's a step back single whip. And you follow the hand opposite of the foot that's stepped. In the step back single whip, you step your foot back. And the one we do here is we step forward. And we follow the hand opposite of the foot that stepped out. So that's a good way to remember, because I know I've been there and you forget which one. Sometimes you forget what direction you're supposed to be doing. Sometimes you step in the wrong direction. Sometimes you realize you stepped in the wrong direction. Sometimes you don't even know you're in the wrong direction. You're just going for it and you think you know what you're doing. Nobody ever got arrested by the Tai Chi police for doing it wrong. So it's okay if you get it wrong. We're just trying to learn to do it right. All right, single whip. We shift left, step right. Push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Remember, we bring that foot back to get ready for waving hands and clouds. Well, when we bring that foot back, we bring those hands down. So again, shift left, step right, adjust weight. Push, turn, separate, following that left hand, opposite hand of which foot is stepped out. Shift left, bring that right foot back and hands down. So that's our single whip. Are you good with that move?
Yeah.
All right, let's put it, let's add it to our top. And commence. Up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot back, hands down. All right, let's do it again. and commence. Up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight. Push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot back, hands come down. And that gets us ready for waving hands and clouds. Let's do those 3 moves without talking, and then I'm going to talk about Tai Chi walking to the side. All right, here we go. And commence. So it takes time for us to get to where we can do our movements without all the talking, because we're learning all the little parts. I'm in a class in Claxton on Mondays in person, and most of our class is done without talking. And we just talk about honing the little parts of our movements, but it's just part of the learning process. So be patient with it. If it feels awkward, it's supposed to. It's not movements that we're, oh Lord, we got Miss Juanita trying to come into class. I guess we'll let her, I'll let Miss Juanita in and she can cool down with us. All right, so let's talk about waving hands and clouds and Tai Chi walking sideways. So we walk. Remember how I said oops, let me lie to you. Remember how I said we step out to the right after that single whip? Step, shift, step, shift, step, shift. This is Tai Chi walking. We're not getting in a hurry. We're stepping a foot, empty step, shift, step, shift, stepping a little wider than hip width, shift, stepping at hip width, shift, step. Okay, I'm getting close to that wall, so I'm going to go the other way. Step, shift, step, shift, step, shift, step, shift, step, shift. Okay, that's Tai Chi walking to the side. That is super, super magical stuff for your balance, for your stabilizer muscles. So I would like for you to practice Tai Chi walking sideways some this week, if you have a chance or if you feel comfortable, and that's going to get us ready for waving hands and clouds. That looks like this. That has the Tai Chi walking sideways. Okay? So Tai Chi walking sideways is your assignment, so that next week when we have class, then we can be practiced in that to do waving hands and clouds. Okay? So let's give ourselves a fist massage. That's what we do when we cool down, is break up lactic acid. It's kind of like telling our legs, thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking such good care of me, getting me around in this world. Thank you a million times. Thank you, legs. All right, then we gather tension. We don't like tension. Tension causes pain. Let it go. Gather and release. Gather and release. One more time. Gather and release. Let's do a big shoulder circle. Inhale up and exhale as we push them down. Inhale up, exhale down, Inhale and exhale. One more. And exhale down. And then we make a right fist. That represents our strength. Our left hand, we put all of our fingers together, and that thumb we bend in. So our fingers together represents our friendship, and our thumb bent in represents our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility. And we put those together. And in mutual respect, we say namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. So I always think it's funny that I have a shirt. It says namaste in bed. It's pajamas. I don't wear it to work because that wouldn't make good
What
sense.
does that mean?
Namaste. Namaste is a word that means, and just so you know, it is spelled Namaste, namaste. And it means everything in me respects everything in you. And it doesn't matter if we're different, if we think differently, if we believe differently, it doesn't matter. We can still be respectful of each other. And so I think that's beautiful.
You too.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. And it's a great reminder, you know, because sometimes we get a bad habit of kind of sticking our nose up and being like, well, what's wrong with them? Why they think like that? That don't even make good sense. And so, you know, we don't want to live like that. We don't want to live in that judgy, ugly feeling. We want to go, okay, well, that's okay that you believe differently than me. We can still be kind and respectful to each other. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed class today. I hope you will come back next week, and we'll just keep on building on our learning, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you.
Sorry, I missed the class. I was out cutting shrubs.
That's okay. You come back next week, or you can get on YouTube and rewatch it, and we'll do it next week. Okay.
I will.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.